The buzzword. I'm going to ask you what you think of this phrase. And we all say it as therapists, we all say it as coaches, we all say it even as intuitive spiritual healers. We all will have this in some form of our dialogue when we talk to our clients. So the buzzword is, what is a limiting belief? What comes to mind when you say limiting belief? It's really broad, isn't it? It's so broad, it's like, how long is a piece of string? How broad is a limiting belief? You could think of anything. You can think of anxiety, you could think of fear, you can think of not being able to make decisions in your life. It's so broad that you can't really think of what kind of script you're going to do. Oh, hang on. Let me get the script for not good enough. Let me get the script of fear. But you know what happens is your client is going to come in front of you and they'll say, my problem is limiting belief. Well, how are you going to prepare for a limiting belief script or a limiting belief technique or even kind of any language pattern that you can have ready and prepare for yourself? Even though I've done EFT, I've done, tapping, I've done a lot of other modalities to help me when I am stuck with such a broad scope of an issue. But that really doesn't get to the root cause of the problem. And I know a lot of therapists actually combine that, and I know that I have done it, but really that's really not helping them change that or find the issue of what the problem is. So I'm actually going to tell you, I don't care. I don't care about what the problem is, because how could I? I don't even know what the problem is. When people say the limiting belief, it is so hard to determine or presume what the problem is. Your client knows, but what you need to do is tease that out of them, and all the tapping in the world isn't going to find out what the root issue is, what the actual problem is. No script will give the client to find their own resource. So having an open mind, of an open dialogue with your client, is going to get them into a state of reanalyzing their thinking, their thought pattern, the belief that they have within themselves, whatever the limiting belief is. So limiting belief is such a buzzword, and it is a broad word, it is a broad phrase, but you can't prepare for a client that has a limiting belief. It's just impossible to do that. And I know some therapists will say, oh, well, you can find it through this way, through that modality, through NLP language. But if you don't have an idea of what the problem is, you really aren't going to be able to help your client. So just don't care. Don't care about what the problem is. You actually don't need to when you do advanced conversational therapy. And it really is freedom as a therapist to just let go of that. It's more of a thing with the therapist not having something to prepare. And this is what I say to a lot of the other therapists and students, that you really need to let go of the pressure that you put on yourself, that you need to have structure, that you need to have some sort of step-by-step, outline of what you need to do before a client sees you. It is really restrictive, and it doesn't give you the freedom to help your client.